The Cellar.
My friend told me this horrific story yesterday, and it has to be the scariest thing I've ever heard, so I felt like sharing it to remind everyone to stay safe and cautious. This happened to a friend of our friend not too long ago. So this girl matched with a guy on Tinder and went on a couple of dates with him. On the first 2 dates, they went for coffee and walks outside. She really liked him, thought he was friendly, good-looking, etc., and they thought that they had clicked. For the third date, the guy suggested that she come over to his place to have some wine. She agreed because at this point she felt safe and comfortable enough to do so. So the time comes and she goes over to his place and he pours her a glass of wine. Things seem to go well, they joke around, enjoy a nice talk, but after a while she starts feeling funny. Now, luckily, this girl had already been roofied once before, so she immediately recognized the effects once they started to kick in. At this point, she was extremely clever in this situation and pretended she was feeling fine. She told him as cheerfully and as energetically as possible that she was going to go use the restroom real quick. Once she was in the restroom, she locked the door and immediately called the police. She told him that she had been drugged and that she was locked in his bathroom and that they needed to come get her out of there. Pretty soon, she passed out. She was awoken by the police, but was still very drugged, so consciousness continued to slide in and out. All she remembers is the police putting a bag over her head as they carried her out of there. She was saved. A few days later, she asked to come down to the police station to give her declaration of events. After doing this, she asked whether she remembered the police putting a bag over her head correctly or if it was imagined due to the drugs. They told her that indeed they did put a bag over her head, because they decided it would have been too traumatizing for her to see as they carried her out what that guy had prepared and set up in his living room for her. This sent absolute shivers down my spine. The guy ended up in jail, and to this day she doesn't know what he had in mind for her, but it's clear it was extremely messed up. If the police didn't want her to see it, I can only imagine. It was an incredibly scary situation that could have ended horribly. So please, 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 always let someone know when you plan on going on a Tinder date. Even if you start to feel safe with someone, even if it's not your first date. Always ask a friend to call and check up on you during and after to let someone know that you are safe. I was a freshman in college and very sheltered. I'd never had a boyfriend before and hadn't even kissed a boy yet. Tired of being the virgin in my friends group, I decided to put myself out there and start going on Tinder dates. I matched with this guy and we chatted for a week before deciding to meet up. He seemed nice enough. We met for dinner and a movie, nothing spectacular. It actually was very unimpressionable because I hardly remember anything from this part of the date. After the movie is when things took a turn for the worse, though. It was past 11, and he was supposed to be driving me home. It took me several minutes to realize I had no idea where we were. It was dark, and we were on a gravel road surrounded by farmland. I asked him where we were going, and he said he was taking back roads. At this point, I'm creeped out, and I just want to go home. I told him I'm tired, and asked how far we were. He said not far, and he asked if I would mind him turning on his police scanner. By now, I'm just like, okay, this boy is weird, but I'm going to be okay. He then stopped his truck on this gravel road in the middle of nowhere and turns off his headlights. He proceeded to ask me, so what do you want to do now? Realizing I'm at the complete mercy of this dude, all I can whimper out is, go home. I'm panicking. I grab my phone out of my purse and pretend my mom is calling me. I make a point to tell her I'm on a date with this guy and I made sure to use his real name and that I'll be home in a couple of minutes. He then took me home. I have no idea if I overreacted in that situation, but I can tell you, I have no regrets for getting out of there. Fast forward 4 years, and I actually met my current boyfriend on Tinder. We've been dating for a year and a half and are extremely happy. The good ones are out there. You just have to weed through all the other ones first. Please be careful doing so. For a little bit of background, I'm in a wonderful relationship now with a guy I met on Tinder. So this is in no way, shape, or form me shitting on the app, even though the app can sometimes feel like a cesspool. I'm currently a senior at a 4-year university, but this happened in my sophomore year when I was 19. For me, it was pretty hard to find someone to just casually date and get to know, since I'm a bit of an introverted individual, and I wasn't looking for any old hump and dump. I also went through my fair share of abusive relationships, so dating for me was really difficult when it came to opening up and trusting people. When I matched with Chris, that is not his real name, I was pleasantly surprised. He was a funny, smart, interesting college student with a decent job and good intentions. I enjoyed talking to him, but there was also a lot of anxiety when I spoke with him. I know now that I should have trusted my gut instinct, but at the time, I assumed I was doing my introverted trust issues BS and tried to push that feeling away. We would talk a few times a week, and every time we did, the feeling would persist, only each time we talked, it would grow stronger. He started to make comments about how he wanted me to be his girlfriend, and how he was so excited for me to meet his parents, but we hadn't met, and he had only talked on and off for a few weeks up to this point. So slowly, I stopped responding to some of his messages. Then I started to leave them completely unanswered. One day, I confided in my friends and told them about this bad feeling I always had while I was talking with him. They told me that I wasn't being open to new experiences because I hadn't let go of my past and that I wasn't being fair to him. So reluctantly, after a few weeks of radio silence and feeling guilty about it, I messaged him again. After another week or two of messaging and catching up, he asked me to go out to dinner with him. I was hesitant to say yes as my anxiety was through the roof, but my friends insisted that it was just nerves and it would be good for me to go out with someone. I agreed, and he excitedly told me that he had plans to take me to a nice Japanese restaurant in the city next to my campus. My friends were ecstatic and asked to see a picture of him. I pulled up his Tinder profile, and when they swiped through the pictures, they were silent. You know, he kind of looks like your abusive ex. At this point, I went into a full-blown panic attack. Once I saw the resemblance, there was no going back. There was no way I was going anywhere with this guy. I texted him back the night before the date and explained that I no longer felt comfortable going out and that I was sorry. He never texted me back. That same week, I started getting multiple phone calls every day from an unknown number. They would leave me voicemails that would say things like, "Call me back, babe," or "Baby, where are you? Why won't you give me a chance?" I tried ignoring them, but one day after getting almost 10 calls, I answered, ready to curse someone out. I called Chris by his name and told him to F off, and was met with laughter. He goes, "This isn't Chris. This is Jeff." I was like, "Who the hell are you?" Chris said I could have you. He started laughing at that point, so I hung up and he immediately called me back. I sent him to voicemail, where he said, "You wanted to go out with me instead. He told me that university you go to, and he showed me all your pictures. I'll wait on campus if I have to." I blocked his number, and for a few more days I got a few more unknown calls and voicemails detailing some pretty weird, aggressive, and gross stuff, but they eventually died down. I don't know if this guy was serious, or maybe it was Chris getting his friend to mess with me as revenge for canceling our date. But whatever it was, it had me looking behind my back anytime I walked anywhere on campus for the rest of the semester. My roommates and I had a male friend stay with us for a while, just in case. I started going back to my hometown on the weekends because I was too afraid to stay on campus. It's been 2 years now, so I hope that in this amount of time, Chris and Jeff have learned to become better people. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoy the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel continue to grow. Also, you can check the description box below and find a link to my merch store. Tons of awesome designs, and the proceeds help fund the channel. For those of you that are interested, I have a Cellar Dwellers membership tier for the channel. It's $2.99 a month and comes with some pretty cool perks, so if that interests you, then please go check it out. I also have that linked in the description box below. If you'd like to submit a real-life scary story that you would like featured on an episode on the channel, please do so using the email linked in the description box below. As always, I do all the research, writing, recording, and editing for the channel myself, so anything that you do to support the channel is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you all again as we head back into the cellar.